Hello everybody on YouTube, it's Xaldin here, the Magician Master 100, known as the Master of all Spellcasters, here to do another anime review. So, today's anime is Flint the Time Detective. Excuse me again. But the reason why I want to do Flint the Time Detective is because it's a Christmas special, since this month is, the Christmas times. So anyway, the Christmas special is called A Caveman's Christmas. Well, that's the dub name of it. I don't really know the original name of it. Yes, believe it or not, there's actually, Japanese version of it, which originally belonged to Japan. Before Jetix or Fox Kids actually owned it. So anyway, so the story starts out with Flint and his friends Tony and Sarah, setting up their Christmas tree, and Flint was wondering, what's Christmas? Because, remember, he was in the caveman era, so he doesn't really know much about, the history from the future or all that. Anyway. Oh, and of course, I'll probably do a review on Flint the Time Detective someday. So, anyway. Of course, he thought that Christmas was something edible. Oh, Flint. You remind me of Miharu from, Girls Bravo. Always thinking that certain other things were edible, and, really wanted to, eat a lot of things. But if I can compare, Flint with someone else, it would be somewhat Miharu, the fact that, when it comes to, eating a lot of things. But, of course, who eats more? Pretty Captain Obvious? Miharu. Because she almost, likes to do that. She even explains about her favorite television show have to do with food. So anyway, so they're wondering who the Santa Claus guy is, because they mentioned Santa Claus, and of course, they got on a mission. Well, of course, the doctor was flirting with this girl as always, and of course, they just got a mission to retrieve these little creatures called time shifters. Time shifters kind of remind you of Pokemon in a little bit of a way. Not a lot, but just a way. They remind you of Pokemon. So they had to retrieve this, time shifter named Elfin. I think that was the name. It had the word the elf in it. Anyway, who had the power to, turn anything to a toy as long as he looks at it or something like that. And he had the love of joy for kids. So anyway, the person actually gave them I know I said person, I should do more of my history on each character, but anyway, gives them something called a time card, which allows them to put it in their time machine, the little motorcycle vehicle, and so they can actually time travel. So anyway, they go back into the not 1900s. Why am I thinking 1900s? No, it was actually 1651 France. So of course, all the little boys and girls were enjoying themselves. I know I skipped something, but I'm just going with it. Just go with it, folks. Actually started, going and enjoying themselves because the time shifter actually turned everything into, little toys for them, which it was really nice and sweet of him. But of course, as Flynn, got a little bit selfish, and after they wanted the toys for himself. But of course, they give the toys away, he gets a little upset, and of course, they see this little girl, a really poor little girl, actually, praying to a statue, which is shaped like a, I think the Virgin Mary or something, or shaped like an angel. Anyway, she was praying to it, hoping that she can actually find her mom, which is very sad, the fact that she's all alone, and has no mom. But, anyway, so the time shifter saw the little girl, and after that saying, "Why so sad, little girl?" And of course, she assumed that he was an angel, because of things that, he did for her. Turning a piece of wood into a doll, and turning random items into little toys for her. Which it was very nice of him to cheer her up, but it still wasn't that, much cheering up for her, since she wanted her mom back for Christmas. And she assumed that a lot of people were the angels, or something like that. She assumed that Flint, Sarah, and Tony were angels. But of course, they knew they couldn't say anything about that because they're from the future. True, in the end, they erased their memories. But it's still not a good idea, mentioning what you are or who you are if you happen to be from the future, because if you mention something from, the past, from the future, then something will change in time. I mean, it's proven a lot of times. So anyway, the pastor who was in this church, who was somewhat like looked after her, explains her past, that she lost her mom in some like war, I guess, that France has. Well, I'm not really too sure if they mentioned that they lost her. They said they mentioned that she gone missing, and then lost her father in the war, which is very sad, actually, losing your family in war. I should know. I had a cousin who got lost in the war. He died of a roadside bomb. It's very sad. I mean, I really had tears. So did a lot of my family members had a lot of tears of losing my cousin. I mean, it was very sad. And my uncle was very sad about it too. I'm sorry if I'm going off subject, but I'm just letting this all out in my system. My uncle was really devastated because that was his only son. But anyway, so Sarah had an idea. Think, hey, let's go to the past, even deeper in the past. So it was a kind of smart idea, but you gotta wonder if it was a good idea going in deeper in the past, because as they say, if you change one small thing in the past, it will affect the future. Or it's kind of confusing. Past, future, I guess, are going to change. Or future is future. Now it's kind of confusing. But I'll explain more in a little bit. So see you in a little bit. Alright, I'm back. I know now the lighting's a little different now, but I mean, I was trying to watch more of the episode and, make sure I know what I'm doing. So anyway, as they go into the past, the even deeper past, they found out that, burning buildings, a big war, and it seemed so tragic to them. How sad and all of that. And of course they found that, the mom was, leaving her child behind so they can find some food for her, because she was getting hungry. But of course, as she, left, and going scavenging for it in the huge burning buildings and the war, yeah, pretty smart idea. Out of nowhere, a giant building smashes upon her. Oh my god! Well, the problem is, she actually survives. No, I'm serious. They made it sure that she survives. It's not like the whole, cutting or dub thing. It actually, showed in the episode. I bet even showed in the Japanese version too. But, of course, the only downside was she had amnesia. But now I want to, keep wondering this. A building fell on her. How do you survive a building? Well, I'm curious. I think it was a burning building. But anyway, a building fell upon you. How do you survive? What are you in the Ed and Eddie, where the Eds were, keep flashbacking and stuff, and they went to the first time they met, and then Ed grabbed the a big house and threw it upon Double D, and after that he didn't remember anything, and he somehow survived. Well, that's Ed and Eddie, but this is just, I don't know. I guess that woman's pretty tougher than she looks. But anyway, so they found out what happened, and of course they wanted to prevent that, but they realized that they can't, because they'll be in trouble and it would mess up the future. So anyway, back in the past future, or past present, anyway, back in the meanwhile, or kind of moments, the little girl is playing with Elfin, and I still can't pronounce his name right. But like I said, I know his name has the word elf in it. Until Dino and Might, I know you're thinking the words Dynamite, which is not. It's actually two separate names. An eel and a frog guys named Dino and Might. Which that's their dub name, of course. Anyway, decided to capture the girls and bring it to their head leader, Petrofina. Now, these three kind of remind me of Team Rocket. A lot of certain characters from different series remind me of Team Rocket. Now, the reason why certain series remind me of Pokemon, because they actually have a lot of similarities. For example, Dinosaur King, a lot of similarities to it, actually. They have dinosaurs and cards, which of course is kind of like a mixture of prehistoric, Pokemon, and a little bit of card game to it. That's what it somewhat reminds me of Pokemon. Three main characters, three main partners they have, and three wacky characters who act like Team Rocket. Same goes for Flint the Time Detective. They have the similar characters as well. Except the only difference is they don't really have much like partnered creatures to partner up with. They just find the creatures, take them back, and that's it. And Dinosaur King, they just grab the dinosaur, they turn into cards, and they just take them. And as for Pokemon, they just capture in little tiny balls, and three goons try to take their Pokemon. So yeah, those are the three, different anime series that have a little bit, common, villain and characters, and all that. Anyway, back to the story. So Petra, uses her Petra stamp, which allows her to, take control of these time shifters, or I think anybody, as long as you have a stamp on your head or any place, I guess. And of course, so she whip the elf or time shifter, I'll just call him, and he'll turn into a dark form, which it looks like an undead pink rainbow. Oh, not rainbow, excuse me, pink undead deer. A little bit creepy, I guess, and a little disturbing, but anyway, the only reason why he did all that, because he wanted to protect the little girl, because the little girl considers him as an angel and all that. So anyway, so Flint and the others find out that she's been captured, which it's kind of a Captain Obvious, because the priest came out of nowhere and mentioned that she got captured by two goons. Well, maybe not a Captain Obvious, but anyway. So, as Flint and the others tried to go after the three goons, then after that they had a somewhat epic fight. Then, of course, they figure out they can't do it alone. They need a time shifter. So, back in the future, someone sent a time shifter, I think named Batter, or something like that. He has to do with baseball. Send him back to the past, and so he can fight alongside with them. He tries, and of course they're like, "No, give up, don't give up." And of course, the one strange, disturbing, thing that happened was one of them. Well, Sarah, I can understand, she's a girl and she dressed up in a cheerleader outfit. But as for Tony, he dressed up like a cheerleader as well. A little disturbing, actually. The only time that you see boys actually wearing a skirt is when they're wearing something called a kilt. I don't know what's the point of him wearing a cheerleader outfit unless they're trying to attract pedophiles. A little disturbing, like I said. So they cheer him on, and then he shaped it to his master form. Now, the shape-shifting, this kind of reminds me of Digimon and Pokemon a little bit. The time shifters are a little bit similar to Pokemon and Digimon because their characteristics, their personality, and their way they transform. In Pokemon, there's evolution or evolving, and once they evolve, they can't turn back. But as for Digimon, they actually do something called Digivolving, which I know it sounds like a funny, cute name, and they become a certain form. of their evolution. Now, in some points, some Digimon can't turn back anyway, but in another point, some Digimon can turn back to their original form. Same goes for time shifters. They first shapeshift to, and then they turn back to normal in the end. So anyway, more epic fight, and of course, meanwhile, with Tony and Sarah, they were going to the church. I think that's where they went to, which they don't explain where the mother's at. I mean, it's something like a church, I guess. Well, anyway, excuse me. They confront the little girl's mother, convince her that she has a daughter, all that, come with us, kind of moment. And she doesn't really remember because she has amnesia. Yeah, really long amnesia, I guess, if you've had it for so many years. Anyway, they had more fight scenes, and then to that, they brought back the mom towards the little girl. The mom's happy, well, not the mom, excuse me, the little girl's happy to see her mom, and she still doesn't remember anything. Not so surprising, I guess. As the giant Ferris wheel, yes, I forgot to mention that the dark version of the time shifter actually makes evil toys. Like, for example, made a Ferris wheel out of a tree. What do they call it? I think a merry-go-round, was it? Yeah, a merry-go-round, but of course the horses are alive, out of a statue, of course, and made a roller coaster out of a bridge. I guess it's, kind of, I don't know how to put it. Anyway, so as they're, doing more fight scenes, and as Flint is running from the giant Ferris wheel, the little girl gets caught into it, and of course, the mom comes out of nowhere and saves her, and she finally remembers. But of course, they're about to be crushed by the Ferris wheel. And after that, the more heartwarming moment that the shapeshifter remembers, who he really was, saves the little girl, and of course, Petrofina flies away, and of course, sad moment, then it comes back to normal, and basically, everything's back to normal. Now, of course, they went back to the future with the time shifter, and of course, they also did Santa's job by bringing the gifts to the kids. I almost forgot to mention that. And Flint meets Santa Claus himself and asks for his hat. Of course, it's not too big, not too small of a present, I guess. Kind of cool. Something that you would actually, have proof of saying Santa Claus until out of nowhere no one believes you. You'd be like, hey, look, I got a hat. It's from Santa Claus. And like, no, you don't. You actually got that from a convenience store. No, it's from Santa Claus himself. Yeah. So anyway, they're back to the future, back to their original time, and of course at first Flint was about to be in trouble for changing certain things in the past, which I would think that almost a lot of episodes they actually erased their memories, but I guess they didn't. But don't worry, since they thought it's Christmas, let's not punish them for changing the past and probably doing a bad thing in the future. So let's just let them off with a warning or something like that, because it's Christmas. Yeah, that could probably cause a little problems for the future. So that was the Caveman's Christmas. It's heartwarming, it's touching, and it's pretty good. So that's my review, everyone. And Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and Happy Kwanzaa. And I hope to see you all in my next Christmas review. Well, see ya.